Hello everyone, Bashar here. As you know, we have a new login champion and a new fusion that is part of the Raids collaboration with Capcom in honor of the 20th year of the Monster Hunter franchise. And I think they are going to be releasing a new game called Monster Hunter Wilds in 2025. So these champions are wearing, Monster Hunter themed armor and weapons, as you can see, crafted from monsters. So this is our new login champion. We should be on day 3 or something like that. If you slack a few days without logging in, then you can get him during CVC, but I do not really recommend it unless you are quite busy these days. It's a non-personal CVC most likely, so the 30k would not matter too much. So let's take a look at his skills. He's an attack-based champion from Force Affinity from the Bannerlords faction. The A1 does have a chance of 50% chance of placing a decreased defense, and if you are doing on a boss, it cannot be resisted. It books up to 65%. Not bad, I would say. No accuracy required. That's nice. And attack one enemy, and every second use of the skill in a round will attack all enemies instead. That's not bad. 3 turn cooldown, will ignore 25 of the target's defense. If the target is a boss, will ignore 100 of target's defense. So guys, you use this ability in Hydra, right? Full defense ignore, and every other use will be ignoring full defense on all enemies, right? Insanely powerful. I mean, this is going to deal damage in the millions with the right gear and with the right debuffs. Attacks everyone and puts increased crit damage and increased speed on himself only. Well, this will work especially well with a buff extender like Chris, Grazur, Taras, whoever it is that you have, because they will become permanent. That's going to be pretty nice. And let's see. So inflicts 50% more damage targets under HP burn debuff. So HP burn is a very useful debuff in Hydra, so you should be bringing HP burn in all of your teams. So he has to be teamed up with someone that does the HP burns, whoever it is that could be. Right, Artak, Kronam, Ninja, Sulfurion, whoever it is that you have, and also receives 25% less damage from enemies on the HP burn debuff. So if you have a reliable HP burner, this could be pretty good, right? You can make the champion a little squishier, and every 5th skill used by this champion deals 200% damage, which is also great. So you will deal triple damage, and if you can align these, you use this ability, and the other use will be AoE, then you use your other skills, and the 5th skill is this again, and a boom, right? You will be dealing triple damage that ignores 100% of target's defense. And the thing is, guys, because this is a normal skill and not a max HP based skill, it has no cap. You can deal like several million, right? You can hit harder than Acrisia's A2 with this skill. And imagine also adding the 50% under HP. So everyone has HP burn, right? We are dealing 50% more damage. We are dealing triple damage thanks to our 5th skill, and this is the other use of the skill, right? Let's assume that we managed to align everything, and we are going to be deal 4.5 times the regular damage, and while fully ignoring all defense on all targets, right? It's just absolutely insane. A very good Hydra damager, has to be teamed up with and I would say very obviously Relentless, right? Because guys, the more turns you take, the more often you will be able to pull this off, right? It's great. And of course, it will vary from rotation to rotation, because if there are too many spirit heads, he is going to be a little bit weaker. but the skills are pretty nice. And a good thing is, guys, he has no debuffs other than this decreased defense, which is, which does not require accuracy against Hydra. So you can build them without any accuracy at all. So you can go pure damage. One thing against him is the speed is, I think, is okay for a nuker. The attack is low though, right? I mean, there are champions with as much as 1.7k attack, so we will be getting a little less than ideal from the percentage attack stats, but still very good Hydra damage overall. So this is the login champion, and we will all get this, right? And there are 5 champions that are part of the Monster Hunter collaboration, and if you manage to get them all before they go on their merry way, early in the match they will be going away, so people that have obtained them will keep them, but they will be discontinued afterwards, like Ninja, right? Unobtainable. That's what it suggests. Maybe they will bring another special campaign that in which you can obtain them, but they will be unobtainable afterwards. So that is one of them. We have 3 that are that can be offered from shards and whatnot, and the other is the active fusion. We'll take a look at them. So do we have sacred? We have a barbarian. This is another insane Hydra character. She's a defense-based champion. Spirit Affinity, defense-based barbarian. Nergigante Archer. Her A1 places an increased accuracy buff on her. Nothing too bad, nothing too great, right? But let's take a look at her kit. It's insane. She attacks everyone, she stuns everyone, and she reduces the turn meter of everyone that's stunned by 20%, which is reminiscent of Mikage. But the thing is, if she cannot put up those stuns because the target is a boss, then she places a decreased speed. And if she places the decreased speed, she fills the turn meter of all of our guys by 10%. Magnificent, right? So against trash it's magnificent, and against bosses it's magnificent again. It can be not so very good against bosses that are immune to decreased speed, but against Hydra it's insane. AoE decreased speed on everyone and 10% turn meter on everyone. 10% is a little bit stingy, I know, but still it's pretty good. Another 3 turn cooldown. Here comes the big one. So 2 turn hex on everyone and provoke on everyone and hits everyone, right? And if the target is a boss, 3 turn hex and 2 turn provoke, right? This is unmatched. I mean, this is insane. 3 turn hex AoE I think doesn't exist, or maybe one of the guys does it. And 2 turn provoke can only be achieved in 2 ways, right? 50% chance with Mole, or you lock your abilities for 5 turns with Umbral, and nothing as convenient and useful as this one in Hydra, right? And so this so far is insane, right? AoE decrease speed, 10% turn meter push, self accuracy buff, 3 turn hex AoE, 2 turn provoke AoE, which means she will be able to lock the provoke even if she's slow, right? The only problem will be if the guy is blue, right? Other than that, it works. And the passive is just, cherry on top. So whenever she hits a target with hex, she heals everyone by 10%. Insane, right? I mean, you have AoE hex, even if you fail the 3% or the V kit, there will be always some target with an hex, and you can attack that target to heal everyone by 10%. And imagine her combination with Relentless, right? Bang, 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 you could heal. And she also gains increased 5% defense, which is permanent. Every time she gets attacked by an enemy that has a hex on it, up to 30%. So she basically has increased 30% defense permanently in Hydra battles. So 30% increased defense. Whenever she plays, she heals everyone by 10% of their own HP, right? And she has 2 AoEs, just one single target skill, and she does decrease speed, 10% turn meter, push in a single ability, 3 turn hex, 2 turn provoke AoE with a single ability that hits. That's very important, guys, because in Hydra we do not really prefer non-hitting abilities too much, right? Everyone, all abilities of all champions you have in your team should be hitting them, right? I mean, Krisk is an exception. Excellent champion, excellent ability, and you let that one slide, but you kind of generally want to hit with every single ability that you do. So she is way too insane. And during the course of the summon rush, she has a progressive chance, which means you can go for 15x, 20x, and 25x. Lovely champion. Third up, so we do have a Skinwalker, we do have a Dark Elf, we do have a Night Revenant, and we do have a, which one is the last one? So we do have a Bannerlord, that's the login one, right? Okay, the Blade Master. We do we have an Elf? It doesn't look like we have an Elf. Do we have a Sacred Order? We do have a Barbarian. We don't have Ogryn, Skinwalkers, Orcs. I don't think so. Okay. Do we have 2 from a single faction? I did get stuck. So there is a Dark Elf, I know. There's that one. Yeah, I will get to it. There is a Knight's Revenant. Oh, Shadowkin is the last one. It's the fusion. Okay, sorry, I did get stuck for a second. So let's get to the best one. Void is, as usual, the best one. I think the best one. But of course, they have different, areas. The helmet looks like a bit like Sauron. The sword is very fantastically big. So he is an HP-based nuker. He is one of the best nukers out there, I would say. Nice base HP, a bit low defense, decent speed. So let's take a look. So similar to Rotos, 15% defense ignore and 20% extra turn chance. That is what I said, that is similar to Rotos. So you could, high roll a little bit and destroy everyone. This is very nice. There are, not many champions that ignore strong stone skin, strengthen stone skin, increase defense, life protection. Reminiscent of Georgid as well, but does not ignore unkillable or block damage. Also ignores 15% of defense if target attack is critical. Well, unless you have enfeeblement on you or anything, you will obviously inflict critical hits with this guy. And decrease target attack by 10%. I suppose you can hit the enemy's nuker to reduce a little bit of incoming damage. Not bad. Attacks all enemies, again ignores 15% of target's defense, and decrease defense by 5%, stacks up to 30%. Well, this is a little bit weaker than Harima, because Harima does the defense this decrease on every hit, and she does a 3 hit, but then again he does the defense reduction on everyone, so not bad at all. So guys, these all together do not look that impressive, right? Why did I say the best champion? Just let's go. So there is a secret skill that unlocks when you use 3 skills. So attacks one enemy will ignore 50% of target's defense. Fills this champion turn meter by 50% if the attack is critical. Obviously, damage inflicted by this skill cannot be decreased by enemy passive skills or masteries. So I would say Duchess, but Duchess won't work because it's a single target. But for example, Python cannot decrease this damage. Only passive skills of bosses can decrease the damage, and only same thing. We cannot increase the damage. That's the way it becomes available. We have to use 3 skills. So you could high roll with this A1. You could wear Relentless, but Relentless is not so very good for PvP nuking. So here comes the reason that I said this is the best one. So And thing is, guys, this does not say round here, right? So unless I'm misunderstanding this, every time this guy takes a turn, places a 25% HP sized, 25% of his HP sized shield on himself, right? And he is immune to critical hits while he has his own shield. So guys, let's say the guy is, because he's an HP based champion, let's say he has 100k HP, right? He is going to be putting a 25k shield on himself, right? And you might be saying, I mean, a 25k shield isn't very impressive. I could just break through it, right? But the thing is, you are not able to crit. It's not very easy to break a 25k shield when you cannot crit, right? So for example, your Georgit, for example, will be doing like, well, maybe Georgit can break through it, but most nukers won't be able to break through it because you are not able to crit, right? I mean, your 350 crit damage goes to waste because you are not able to crit, right? You will be hitting like 5, 6k, 10k maybe, and the guy will have a 25k shield, which will mean probably he will be able to soak up to 2 hits from nukers without receiving crits. And thing is, when he takes a turn, he will put the same thing up again, right? It's not at the beginning of the round, right? It's not once. He does it every single time he takes a turn, right? At the end of his turn, he just gains the shield. So I think this makes him insane. And thing is, as I said, these guys will be leaving at the beginning of March. So today we have a 15x on this guy, a progressive chance. So one would be very lucky to get this guy. I think he is extremely good. And he has a 35% HP, arena HP aura. Probably you would go for speed, but it's not a bad one. I mean, it's end game, right? I don't think there is anything that's above 35% in arena HP. Some mythical champions have 35% all over, but still in arena no one has higher as far as I know. And even if there are, that would be very rare. So this is extremely good, and I don't think there will be any special event other than these progressive events to obtain him. So get him while he's hot. I would say this is the best one, but of course, as I said, these are conditional, right? This is a PvP guy. The other guys were Hydra guys. I mean, to each his own, right? And let's take a look at the other Blade Master fellow. I'm not sure if we will have an event for this guy. Maybe we will have a guaranteed summon or something for this guy. Let's take a look at him. So he is a support from Knight's Revenant. Attacks one enemy and has a 55% chance of increasing the duration of 2 random buffs on allies by 1 turn. That's not bad, for an A1. 2 random buffs. Useful in Hydra, where you have many buffs on your team. Attacks all enemies, increase defense on everyone, shield on everyone, and the shield size is 30% of this guy's HP. That's important, guys, because he's an HP based support champion, so you are going to rack your HP pretty high. And the shield, for example, imagine you have a squishy nuker on your team like Razelwarg, with maybe 40, maybe 30k HP, and this guy has 100k HP, which means Razelwarg will have the shield the size of his own HP, right? That's going to be very, very useful. And the thing is, if you are hitting a boss during Hydra, these buffs are protected. No mischief steal, right? That's very, very useful. And thing is, guys, if you extend them, they will stay protected. So this is, I think, very lovely. And it's very obvious, and the shield will grow as well. It's very obvious that the game has power crept a lot. Now take a look at this champion. So if this champion was like 2 years old, he wouldn't have been hitting anyone, right? And the boss wouldn't be protected. He would just put up the increased defense and the shield, right? Now he has the increased defense, the shield, the buffs are protected, and attacks all enemies, right? Because in Hydra it's very important. You don't want to take a turn and do 0 damage. You want to do damage at all times. And removes all debuffs from allies, places a block debuffs on allies for 2 turns. If a boss is present in the current round, this buff is protected. Yeah, I just did talk about this. I don't like champions that do 0 damage with their skills in Hydra. I wouldn't say too bad, right? So this guy, I wouldn't say this guy is a bad champion, and I would say this guy would go very well with a buff extender, right? Because it's on a 3-turn cooldown and it's on a 2-turn duration. What does that mean? If I have a buff extender here and the speeds are, well done, this will mean, permanent increased defense, the shield, and permanent block debuffs, because they are protected and they are not going to be stolen. Insanely good, right? You extended the buffs. The guy does this, the guy does this, and after that you extend the duration. With Krisk, for example, everything is protected and nothing is going to get stolen. Lovely. And he gets 5% turn meter every time he receives a debuff. A little bit counterintuitive with this one. Also, he's this champion by 5% whenever a debuff placed on them expires is removed. Yeah, I don't like this passive. I wouldn't say it's a bad champion, but I don't know how much damage we will go for on this champion, right? We could, because he doesn't require any accuracy. Could. And I was thinking about resistance, so this makes the resistance very useless. So you probably would go damage on this guy, 100% crit rate, a lot of damage, and also, supporting everyone. 30% speed aura in dungeons, that's nice, right? If I ever get one, I don't have, I think, this quality of dungeon speed aura myself. I would say this is the least good among those champions now. But still not bad, right? You wouldn't be sad to get this one. And finally we have the fusion. This pretty lady. Okay, so she's an attack champion from Magic Affinity, from the Shadowkin faction. And triple hit A1, 30% of placing a weaken. Nothing too fancy. I recall that she does many hits. Yeah. Fire Knight material, I guess. 4 hits. Each hit increases this champion's turn meter by 5%, so she gets 20% turn meter back. And puts up increased speed. That's not very bad. 20% turn meter plus increased speed. Not bad. Attacks on him 4 times. Before attacking, places an increased attack buff on this champion for 2 turns. I like that. Right? I like the champions that bring their own damage buffs, because sometimes you just don't have the proper guys around. The first 2 hits have, okay. The first 2 hits place leech. So what is the meaning of placing 2 leeches instead of 1? The meaning is, you weak it, you get 3% resist, whatever it is, you just have a chance to counter it. And the 3rd and the 4th hit have a chance of placing decreased attack, right? So, 2 hits that place leech, 2 hits that place the decreased attack. These are all very lovely, but everything is single target, guys. So she is only useful for facing a single target boss, like maybe Fire Knight, but leech doesn't do too much on Fire Knight, because he takes a very reduced amount of damage while the shield is up. Well, I would say this is the worst one, but still, a legendary is a legendary. Let's take a look here. So she has a Leorius-like passive. She increases her damage by 1% for every damage, but she has a cap. Leorius doesn't have a cap, right? This damage is doubled. This increased damage bonus is doubled against targets with decreased defense debuff, which is also not very impressive because she doesn't have the decreased defense in her kit, so she needs help from someone else. And the thing is, the first guy, the login champion, Rathalos fellow, he did get very big value from that assist, right? And his main area of focus is very likely Hydra, and bringing HP burn to Hydra is kind of a must, so his condition, softens quite a bit. This lady looks like, she's a single target nuker most of the time, and, you would like to bring decreased defense debuff, so that's not too much, but for Fire Knight, it's not very easy. So I wouldn't say bad, but it's also not very good. She has one thing that's very important. she survives death, right? And the thing is, because it doesn't say block damage or unkillable, she's like a little bit like Gofred, nothing kills her, right? I mean, ignoring block damage, ignoring unkillable, ignoring whatever it is, it doesn't matter because she has, some sort of soft wording instead of, an in-game concept, right? She doesn't have unkillable, she doesn't have block damage. There is nothing that can be ignored, right? It prevents this champion's death and keeps them alive on 1 HP when hit by a fatal hit, right? So this can't be bypassed, right? You cannot kill her while nuking. And when she's saved by this, she is healed by 50%, and I don't know why this exists. This most specific thing in the world. Maybe Plarium is bringing some sort of content that will apply heal reduction. If you have a heal reduction on her, this skill will not work. Very weird. So to me, this sentence just doesn't exist, right? It's not going to happen. Why would we have this, right? I mean, it will work in Hydra, but who would bring this in Hydra, right? Because she sports the same aura. The aura is nice for me at the very least. And I'm a firm believer of going for every single fusion, no matter how bad they seem. And I'm not saying she's bad, right? She's just not very good. The others are better, right? So this one I would say is the rank 5. The support that we just reviewed is number 4. We had the login champion, and the login champion is probably number 3. The Hydra lady and the Void. Well, you can't exactly rank them, right? Because they do work in separate areas of the game, right? And the thing is, guys, I think the login champion is, well, I would say probably very good, right? It's just the Archer lady is extremely good, right, in Hydra. And the Void fellow is just, absolutely insane in PvP. 25, as I said, if you have 100k HP, he will have a 25k shield and he will refuse to be critted. I mean, imagine having a working reaction, not percentage. It does work, right, at all times, and it does work after the first turn as well. Permanently working reaction on him at all times, right? You have to remove the buff, or you have to deal 25k worth of damage without critting. Right? That is not very easy to pull off. If you recall, if you cast your mind back, guys, you hit the enemy and you do like 10k, you're like, what's going on? Reaction proc, right? And it repeats every single turn. That is the toughest PvP damager there is if the shield holds, right? But you could, of course, use Kaimar, you could use Madame, you could use, someone that, Kimi, right? You can have ways of countering it. But he would be extremely good, for example, in tag team arena offense, right? Imagine, they have a nuking team, you go in, bang, they hit you, nothing happens. And then you nuke and you kill. Lovely. So they would change, but I would say the Void fellow and the Archer lady are the 1 and 2. And I would still put this lady at like, maybe 5 out of 10. I mean, I think the double leech and the double decrease deck are quite redundant. I mean, if this was an AoE ability, yeah, right? I mean, would have helped in Hydra. You would have 2 chances of placing the leech against, weak affinity adds as well, whatever it is, but yeah. But she does bring a whopping 11 hits on all 3 abilities, right? I mean, if you rotate all her abilities, you would be doing 11 hits. That's pretty nice. But you kind of generally want at least 1 AoE. Right? That's what I think. I would say, as I said, she's definitely worth going for Sintranos, for whatever it is, for some sort of unexpected content. I'm not saying don't go for her, but I would say she is the least good out of these Monster Hunter champions. And we will have another video to review the calendar and I will see you on stream. Bye bye.